Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. This is market recap video for the week ending May 30th. We are ending May. We had a really strong month. Let's go to the monthly chart here. We are up 2 months in a row. This is very good progress overall. So the previous month in April was 1.4%. Which was a big bounce back from the bottom here, right? And you can see the trend line going back pretty far since 2009 here on the monthly chart. We're able to find support again here, which is good. And then we bounce back. And this month, we are up 9%, 9.1%. So that is very strong. Let me switch to Nasdaq weekly chart here. We are on a pretty, good uptrend right now. This is actually very strong. If you draw a trend line, look at that trend line. It is very steep. It's like pretty much a V-shaped rebound here. So overall, this looks very healthy, and we could possibly be going for this high here this month in June. So we'll see how that goes. Overall, the week was up pretty nicely. It's up 1.93%. And so it's continue to it bounced back from previous week, which is a very healthy move. As you can see, last week we came down back to near the 200-day line here, but then we bounced back. So here's a closer look at the daily chart. Again, we see this nice uptrend. We pulled back the week before. This week we gap up right here on Tuesday after the Memorial Day. News that I believe the news was that Trump was going to delay the tariff for EU, right, till July 9th. So that was the main news headline. We also saw consumer confidence came in much better than expected. It was at 98, well above 87.3 consensus. So that was that day. And so we have a nice, really strong bounce that day. A lot of growth stocks start to bounce back a little bit. Then on Tuesday and Wednesday, we kind of starting to see a little bit of a stalling action. If you look at those two daily chart intraday range, you see that it make new high, but then it closed at the bottom. And then same thing on Thursday. We started off pretty strong, and then we closed pretty much at the low of the range. And then on Friday, you can see we started much lower. We gapped down much lower, and then we bounced back towards the close. So overall, for the end of the week, we end up kind of still up, right? Which we saw on the weekly chart. So overall, it's still okay. And again, we're having trouble around this zone right here, right? Let me clear the chart here with my markups. Sorry. So right here on this level here, you can see that there is many resistance here happening. And so if we do clear that resistance and close above this line decisively, I think the uptrend will probably resume. That is kind of what we're looking for right now. But until then, we could be in kind of like a very choppy market right now. It could continue. We don't know. The other thing obviously is the 10-day line, which is this 10-day. As you see, previously it was gapping up quite above it and extended, and now it has starting to really catch up to where the price is, right? So now we are 2 weeks in a row. We the week before we didn't close above it, so that was the kind of little bit of a weak moment, and we could have went down, but we didn't. We chose to go up on Tuesday after the Memorial Day, which is the news that the delay on the EU tariff. And then on Thursday, we saw some ruling about Trump's reciprocal tariff that, the court, didn't really approve that. And so it went up, but then it kind of came back down by the end of day. But then there was some news that they're going to appeal it, but there's also some ruling that after that the tariff may stay on for a little bit longer. So not sure what's going to happen there. Again, on Friday, we have some news as well. Let me go check what the news are here. Oh, yeah. So there was some tweet by Trump, I believe, that's saying how China has violated its preliminary trade agreement, and that they're possibly planning more technology sanctions on China. So that kind of brought the market back down. But like I said, at the end of the day, it was able to come back up. The PC data also came out much better. Came in as expected, so not much better. Came in as expected. So yeah. So here's the inflation cooling. You can see the CPI actually came down to 2.5% core PCE year-over-year change. So this is like lowest here. A 4-year low, they say it right here, 4-year low. So that's really good news. And then we have, the month-to-month is 0.1%, which is expected. And then we also have consumer spending growing actually, which is kind of, interesting, right? So it's healthy in that sense. Let's look at the advanced decline line here. Again, the market hasn't gone anywhere this last 2 weeks. It's trying to hold. It's actually not that far from the high, as you can see on S&P. We'll go look at the daily chart in a second. But the advanced decline line are holding on to, at least for S&P. For NASDAQ, very similar, right? Like we are very pretty much near the highs here. Again, that resistance line we have to cross over. So far, the advanced decline line hasn't collapsed because normally NASDAQ is a little bit weaker than S&P for that line. But it seems to be holding. You see, it's not making new lows here. So from this aspect, it seems to be holding. However, on the growth stock side, a lot of them have pulled back the last 2 weeks, and a lot of them are still kind of below the 10-21-day moving average, which is kind of my growth stock list will show that as a downtrend. So please make sure you follow that video. We'll look at those stocks and go through them. That'll be the next video coming out. So yeah, after the news came out from Trump's tweet about China violating its pre-trade agreement or preliminary trade agreement, it kind of came down hard, but then the market bounced back. But then it was trying to hold, but it couldn't hold this low. It broke apart, down here, and then after that it did bounce back. So there was some really strong buying towards the end of the day here in the second half of the day, which is kind of very welcoming because it kind of did come back above this high right here, which it couldn't break through in the morning. So that looks pretty healthy actually from that perspective because it was able to come back. So once again, we're seeing upside reversal on the bounce here on Friday and also last Friday, which turns out it was it was working on the following week. So we'll see if we can see something like that and break through this. If not, we will go back below 10-day again, the green line. But we'll see how that goes. For S&P, it also recovered this week. As you can see from the bounce, also on after Memorial Day, right? The only thing that different from this and NASDAQ is that it never actually make an intraday or a recent new high. So we are still below the previous high here. We did close above 10-day. So that's again very strong. So for Dow, you see same thing. It bounced back this week, but it's more of an inside week, very narrow range this week. And you can see here, overall, it looks pretty healthy here. This digestion, because you can see 3 or 4 days is positive. Also, 3 or 4 days are positive. They all close at the top of the range. So that's also good. Yeah. Russell is also having an inside day here for the week. It's up for the week, so it did bounce back a little bit. It's been sliding since that day. You can see here. It did again, same thing. Friday, it kind of bounced back from the bottom. Very narrow range. The bounce is not as convincing as the other index. You can see here, it just keep making lower highs, right? So a little bit weaker for sure. And you can see the RS rating just constantly coming down. So last week I pointed out like the innovated IBD 50 ETF, very strong. Because it was a down week from last week, but yet the IBD 50 was able to have a positive wave. And this week, look at what happened. We continue that trend. It just continued to make higher highs, right? So that's the first thing. And then it didn't really sell off too much. It did, pull back to 10-day. which is very common. You can see from this chart here, it does pull back to the 10-day quite often, but every time it pulls back to 10-day, it bounce. So that's also healthy. So this chart is looking like more and more healthy as it building the right side of the base and it keep making new highs. So which means that, because this is IBD 50 growth stocks, so this kind of give me a sense that the growth stocks are trying to hold up or do better. And so we'll talk about that in my growth stocks list video later. But yeah, a lot of them did pull back, but it's probably a natural pullback after such a strong gain before that. And so we'll look at that. But the key is that it's more of a normal pullback rather than a very violent pullback. And we're already seeing a lot of stocks starting to make new highs again. So that's really good. And now a good thing that's also you can get out this week was the 10-year yield came down last week, end of the week, and but it did bounce on Friday, so that was a little bit worrisome whether this uptrend would continue. And you can see clearly it broke down after Memorial Day, and then it tried to come back up, but it just doesn't have the power, and now it's making new lows. So this could be some fuel to maybe help the market a little bit if this yield continue to come back down. And if it does come back down, the red line here, which is a 50-day moving average, could be the next support level for this. So we'll see if this trend continues. The US dollar is just kind of going sideways right now in the range. It's not really doing much. It's still having a hard time coming back above this. So that's that. The oil price continue to be weak. You can see it's very volatile lately. It just kind of go back and forth, and now we make another new low, recent low here. So it really doesn't take much for this to come down to new low. So that's very interesting. For gold, we talk about the W-shaped formation, and it kind of stalled, right? We talk about this trend line here. Like I would rather wait for it to break out right here to get back in. And so far it couldn't. It's having a lot of problems trying to come back. And so this could possibly be, a problem here. Now the 50-day is catching up really close now. It's like at this level and the price at this level. So generally, who knows? Like I say, this could be just another handle forming before a final breakout. But again, if it does fall further, it'll be the chance of it coming back is less and less. And Bitcoin has pulled back. Now, it failed to make a higher high on this after Memorial Day, right here. It couldn't go higher, and then it just started to fall. So right now it's pulling back to 21-day line now. We'll see if it finds support. If it doesn't, we could go down further, to the 50-day line. So next week, as we get into June, I don't think there's much economic news. We have ISM manufacturing here coming out on Monday. Factory orders. There's some Federal Reserve scheduled to speak. And then we're gonna have the unemployment report, ADP employment, initial jobless claims. We're gonna have U.S. employment report here, and then we have ISM service here on Wednesday. So the employment report continues to be probably the number one, besides inflation numbers, obviously, but employment numbers starting to, become more and more important. Because a lot of analysts think things will start to slow down, but so far it hasn't improved, at least from the earnings perspective. We pretty much gone through most of the earnings now. And Nvidia was really the last big cap stock to report, which we will talk about in a second. And so we are really not having, not much to look forward other than this U.S. unemployment report next week. That's really quite important. So we're going to go through the mega caps now. Semiconductor first. Looking at the ETF here, we closed at the low of the range here on Friday, which is not a good thing. Because the week before we also closed at that range. We bounced back on Tuesday, but we actually end the week near the bottom. It's still up 0.97%, but just the fact that I closed at the bottom of the range is not a good thing. Because if we go look back at NASDAQ, it actually closed more. Not only did it make it a new high, but it also closed in the middle range. But for SMH, it's a little bit weaker. And you can see the RS rating kind of came down. for both weeks. And so, yeah, let's go look at daily chart. So the previous week we went down pretty hard and then we bounced back again. Tuesday's bounce, then we saw Wednesday and Thursday very similar to the Nasdaq chart. It just even though I'm making higher highs, but again we found resistance at the top level here too. But then Friday we came down really hard to the 200-day, and this is may have something to do with Nvidia. So Nvidia came up with, let me take away the markups for a second because there's too many here. And we saw the pullback the previous week, and then we bounced on the market Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday was the earnings gap up, but it reversed, and after it reversed, it followed on Friday. It kind of pretty sure, yeah, it just keep falling again, right? So here's a gap up. It basically closed really weak the whole day on Thursday, and then on Friday it continued. See how like it didn't really move up much. If I go to QQQ just to show the difference, yeah, I guess it's the same. It's the same. I thought it was different, but yeah, they both came down right away, and this one gone down even further, and it never recovered like as much as QQQ. Look at the QQQ difference. Look at that, right? Versus Nvidia, like really weak bounce, right? So I think that is a problem here, and I'm not sure if this is going to be related to maybe sanctions related to China possibly coming from Trump administration. It could be, I don't know, but definitely lots of selling. So yeah, I took a position on Thursday here, but it didn't work out because it was a nice breakout, right? And then it pulled back really fast, and I had to get rid of my position there. So we'll see what happens, but this is not good technical movement. In terms of the earnings, it's still very strong. Forward guidance is strong. Look at the numbers here are increasing 40 to 68%. Sales are pretty strong as well. Very powerful. I think, this stock has been kind of in consolidation for almost a year now. Like pretty much, it just didn't go anywhere, since almost end of June here, 2024, to now it's almost June, right? 2025. So it's been a long time. So so this last pullback is not good. I was hoping that it will work, but it didn't. So we'll see. We did break this downtrend here. So in general, it's still finding support at the 10-day though, right? So unless you're trading really tight like me, which can get stopped out easily, probably your uptrend has been working. So you follow the 10-day. Follow the 10-day, follow the 10-day. It has been working so far. Another stock in the same category, Avago, is doing really well. It's you see where it closed, very strong, making new highs on Thursday. Look at Friday's bounce from the bottom. Quite amazing. So this didn't even touch the 10-day. This is exactly the kind of behavior you want to see as a stock pullback. It just doesn't want to touch the 10-day and then bounce. And that's exactly what you see. So this is much better than Nvidia from this perspective. It's also near breakout point, and it's working really well. Like it has been, like I said, holding the 10-day here, much better than Nvidia. Like Nvidia is not that bad. It's just, this one seems a little bit stronger on Friday's action. We look at the intraday here. Look at the bounce here compared to Nvidia, right? So this is good. This is good. We'll look at one more large cap here, TSM. So TSM is also another mega cap here. This one's kind of similar to Nvidia a little bit. It did close at the bottom of the range after making a new high. Again, this is kind of in the cup handle pattern here. It kind of fell, like Nvidia did, right? It fell below the 10-day and just closed near the 10-day, just slightly below it. So both of them are a little bit weak right now, whereas Avago is much stronger. We're gonna move on to the mega cap software area. For the week, you can see it did close near the top of the range, so that's good. It's a very narrow range. So look at daily chart here. We pulled back the previous week. Again, the bounce a little bit weaker than I want to see there on Tuesday, and then right away Wednesday it already starting to pull back. Thursday it didn't even make a new high, so slightly weaker than semiconductors, right, on Thursday and Friday, but it did bounce back though, so that's the only good side. But we are still kind of below this handle trend line here, so we're very close that it's possible it can break out anytime soon. So something to watch. So Microsoft, look at how tight this. So the week before it pulls back, look at how tight this is this week. That's incredibly tight. Friday's volume is really sharp. I'm not sure if there's something happening there, but you can see that volume really sharp. Let's look at intraday chart here. So we see a really big bounce too on Friday. So that is really good from the, really healthy. So Google also, bounced on Tuesday, but then it very stalled very quickly, same as the IGB ETF here. The Friday's bounce is good, it's strong, but it's still a negative day, so hard to tell whether it actually has, broken this trend line here. So we'll see. Meta shows pretty good action. You see, all 4 days are positive, and volume was super low here on the selling side, even the week before. So this could be, again, Friday, see, it's probably rebalanced, last day of the month. That's probably why the volume jumped in, at the, I'm sure if we go look, I'm sure this right here, you see the last 15 minutes of volume here, really, really big. So that's probably lots of rebalancing happening at the end of the month. But overall, this is a good chart because, it actually closed positive. Whenever a stock, this is something that I was been watching this last couple of days, especially when a lot of stocks are pulling back. If they do bounce back, I really want to see a very convincing bounce, like where it actually closed above previous days, close. And this one did. It actually closed, not only did it rebound, but it actually closed above previous day's close, which really negate all the downside in the morning, right, for that day. So that's like, it's like basically saying it's like this never actually happened. This never actually happened. So, it did happen, but I'm just saying there's much more support coming in to on the buy side than the sell side because they're able to recover most of the price action. For Amazon, same thing, it bounced back, but this one also, the handle is really high here. That's the only problem. And we're trading mostly in the bottom part of this handle versus at the top half. That's the only problem I see in this chart. So I would be more patient to wait for this, kind of at least to go through this trend line here. Like that would be my earliest trend line there if I do. And then you have the traditional breakout point there. For Apple, it did bounce back, but again, very weak action because it's below all the key moving averages. So the trend line is still down, right? So that's the problem with this stuff. Tesla was really strong. I mean, look at Tuesday bounce right there. It actually make a new high, and not many, as we saw earlier, not many index or stocks have done that. And this one actually make a new high. Relative strength was going up right there. And then Wednesday, Thursday, it just kind of make new highs as well, but it didn't pull back too much, but it did close at the bottom of the range. And then Friday, for whatever reason, again, I don't know, it's rebalancing or something. It did give back a lot. Let me go intraday here. So it fell down, but it never came back up strong, right? So this is not exact, like this kind of like Nvidia, like it didn't really come back up strong. And then at the end of the day, the last 15 minutes, probably due to rebalancing, we see more sell off after that. The last stock we'll look at is Netflix. It has the Tudum event coming up on Saturday in the evening, I believe. And this is basically like we see Sophia Carson here taking center stage as host of Netflix Tudum event, live event here. And it's gonna have a lot of celebrities, I believe, on this show. And it's basically going through a lot of the, background stuff that happening, and also like it's a kind of like a fan appreciation event kind of stuff. So yeah, this could bring a lot of exciting momentum for this stock. Looking at Netflix right now, here's the chart. So last week it was trading really tight. I was talking about that. Tuesday we see a pretty much a new high here. Wednesday trading really tight, but Thursday it fell. I'm not sure if there was any specific reason that it fell, but Friday it bounced back. So that was the good news. Probably, you know, anticipating this event here. So it bounced back from the 10-day line, very strong. Look at this strong bounce. So that is definitely some momentum that we're seeing. So again, that could be a buying opportunity here. So we'll see how it reacts on Monday on that Tudum event because it's probably the biggest global live event for Netflix. And like I said, lots of celebrities might be on that show. So thank you for watching this stream. I hope you like and subscribe and stay tuned for my next video where I'll go through the growth stocks list. I do think there's some shifting happening. So some stocks are coming up to the list and there's also a lot of stocks moving down as well. So we're seeing some shifting in terms of, not complete change in leadership, but there is some movement for sure. So thank you for watching. Have a good weekend.